Welcome to Arts Beyond Museums. I'm Khan and I'm your curator for this series. Now, museums, are they supposed to collect art and exhibit them? No, museums, they're supposed to collect art and show it to the people. But what if for an extended period of time, we couldn't go to the museums? What should we do? Should we let art for years and maybe even decades go into the dark ages? No, we should bring art to the people. We should bring art beyond museums to you. Now today we are here at Marina Bay Sands. I'm sure you are very familiar with this place, and this place, even though it's just established in 2010, about 11 years ago, it has already become the new icon of Singapore, and it's in MBS Marina Bay Sands that we find some of the most high-class and most amazing restaurants in Singapore. Now today, Arts Beyond Museums, we are going to enjoy Master Yun's paintings, sip Laurent-Perrier's champagne of course, and to enjoy and taste some wonderful Imperial fine Chinese cuisine. Let's go! We're here today at Imperial Treasure Fine Chinese Cuisine. Now this brand, Imperial Treasure, has over 20 restaurants all over the world, but this is the finest of them all. Now I know that they have a special focus on using the finest ingredients with the highest standards, and it's no wonder that's why they have so many awards, Michelin star included as well. And that is pretty much in connection with Master Yun's Feng Shui arts. We know that Master Yun is also the finest in terms of Feng Shui arts, Feng Shui paintings, and Feng Shui calligraphies. Now, by the way, recently, Master Yun was just recognized by China as the founding father of Feng Shui arts, Feng Shui paintings, Feng Shui jewelry, and Feng Shui calligraphy. And I suppose we all know why by the time we are in this episode of Art Beyond Museums. Master Yun insists on using the highest ingredients in his Feng Shui calligraphies and paintings as well. One thing we know, it's the gold and silver, 24K, 18K, and real silver as well. The paper is Tongpa paper, also of the highest quality, and something that is really fine. It's not just about the ingredients and quality, but also the attention to details and how the entire artwork is harmonized in a single piece of canvas. For instance, in the background, if you can see, the rounds and circles that are of red ink, that is of rouge and vermilion, and it's pure grade vermilion. In the background, many different layers that symbolize different meanings. The red rounds, red circles of rouge and vermilion, they represent the pine, which represents strength and power. And if you can see, the gold strokes, they represent the feathers of crane, which represents longevity. We look at this word, it's called 盛赫为王. That means that the victorious crane is crowned king. Just like the restaurant we are here today, finest Chinese cuisine, and dare I say, in the whole of Singapore as well. For friends who are new with us, and if you're wondering who is this painter, who exactly is Master Yunlongzi? Now, this is Master Yun. Master Yun, he's the 6th generation in the Feng Shui family. In 2006, after inheriting all the wisdom and all the experience, Master Yun founded Lotus on Water, the best and most amazing Feng Shui gallery in the whole world, I might say. And up to date, Master Yun has had 14 major art exhibitions around the whole world. One of the most significant art exhibitions, of course, is on the Great Wall of China. For 3,500 years, no one has ever exhibited on the Great Wall, and Master Yun is the first and only to do so. Speaking of the Great Wall of China, just next to me, this fabulous feng shui painting. It's what we call 鹤天富地图, greetings to heavens and enrichment of earth. Now, on the Great Wall of China exhibition, Master Yun exhibited about 59 paintings, of which some of them belong to this exact series. So when you collect a painting like this, you are collecting actually the same series that went up to the Great Wall of China. Here I have with me 鹤天富地图number 28, and in this series, it's not a calligraphy, it's a piece of painting, and we see two cranes. Okay, cranes are the main motifs of Master Yun's feng shui paintings, other than peacocks. Of course, we see that the paintings, the same elements, the same desire and the insistence for fine standards and ingredients are present. 24K gold, 18K gold, pure silver as well. The paper is on Dongba paper, the ink is pine soot ink, and we have the great vermilion, pure grade vermilion on this painting. Just like Imperial Treasures, fine Chinese cuisine, the demand and the insistence on fine quality is impeccable. Now over here, we see two cranes, just like other 鹤天富地图. One, it's looking at the east, the other looking at the west with a big open, ready to capture more prosperity. But what I really like about this painting is that how these two cranes come together and the composition of them form a digit 8, which stands for harmony, or in Chinese, it stands for real prosperity and great whiteness, as we can see, and surrounded by so much gold and silver. Now this painting, along with Master Yun's feng shui calligraphy that we just saw, they share a very fine ingredient element, and that is Laurent-Perrier's champagne. In both Master Yun's feng shui painting and Master Yun's calligraphy, Master Yun uses Laurent-Perrier's champagne to let the colors fly, and that's how we achieve such a multitude of colors that cannot be duplicated, be it the painting or the calligraphy. So here we have Laurent-Perrier, established in 1812. Now, for 200 over years, they have never worked with any artist before. The first artist, the first painter they have ever worked with is none other than Master Yun. Here's to some great prosperity of finesse. We have with us here Mr. Eugene Ong. I'm sure, friends, you are very familiar with Mr. Eugene.
Hi.
If you're following Art Beyond Museums, 廊外有画, you will know that we have been to Mr. Eugene Ong's Urban Hair at Crossroad.
Yep.
Actually, we went there to do 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Then, when the second episode came out, a lot of friends were like, "Eh, is this the same?" In fact, you thought that
I thought
we had to replay.
Only one. Yeah,
you thought there was only one. So when I told Mr. Eugene that,
surprised.
the second episode is coming out, so a lot of friends were asking, "Oh, yeah, second episode, even though it's 1 month apart." And I explained on my Facebook because that when I was there at Urban Hair, there was actually so much content. There was actually so much information that I think that to just squeeze it in a 15 or to 20 minutes episode would be an injustice. That's why we managed to cut a second episode and covering different perspectives and aspects.
Correct. Yeah, I didn't expect that I give so much information as well.
You see, yeah, and one of the things because Eugene could do, while others maybe they can only do less, because Eugene not only can he like explain and his view about the art, but also he managed to tell us the painter, like who Master Yun, which we want to know more from a third-party perspective,
Well,
right?
come to that point. Actually, it does blend in because I think I know you guys for quite a period of time.
A decade.
Yeah, so that's why the question brings us around, and then how to go about knowing. I think the depth is there. Yeah.
So after the episodes were out, did people ask you like, "Hey, how you know? How do y'all come in connection?" The kind of thing.
There are people who ask that question, honestly, and I was just surprisingly, because some people look at things and just simply forgotten.
Yeah.
But I think this episode, what we had done, cooperation, in the sense that there are a lot of touch points on arts.
Yes.
I think arts, the value of looking at it in a different angle.
It does cross a lot of different medium and
path,
platforms.
medium, personal grounds and everything.
And to thank Mr. Eugene, that's why today I've invited him to come and taste all these amazing dishes in front of us. Imperial Treasures fine Chinese cuisine.
Well, it's looking very, very delicious, and
Cheers.
I think I'm very honored to be here today.
Yes, cheers.
And having these two, what, their favorite?
Yes, these are their signature. The kitchen,
signature
I asked them
dishes.
what is the signature dishes, and they are in front of me. So you know, when we go, we have art on canvas, Master Yun's paintings. We have art with the hairstyle.
Correct.
In fact, this is, Eugene just did this, redid this hairstyle for me.
I didn't cook the dishes, but I cooked your hair in like 5 minutes.
And of course, we have art for the palette.
Yes.
Yeah, we know we have Laurent-Perrier champagne. We also have fine Chinese cuisine by Imperial Treasures. So these are their two signature dishes right in front of us. I think this one, I think people should know. Take a guess.
Chili crab.
Chili crab. Okay, it's one of Singapore's most iconic dish.
Yes, indeed.
One of the things that when people come to Singapore, if they do not try Singapore chili crab, it's as if they have not been here before.
Just to recap, when I was younger age at that time, so the chili crabs is slightly different from now.
From now, it's different.
Yes. So it have been not tweeted or altered, but I think due to the generation taste bug,
Okay.
and also the what you call mantou.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last time it's served with bread, which is easier to absorb the gravy.
You mean those like Ghanaian bread?
What in
Roti,
China?
yeah, they call it roti, yeah.
Roti, the long jam tao roti in
Ah,
Hokkien.
So it's easy to absorb those gravy back then.
Back then, because it's more liquid.
It's more liquid.
Yeah. Right now, because mantou is more compact texture, so that's why this one will stick on the mantou easier to hands on. Yeah. Thank you.
The fluffy one.
Yeah.
So
fluffy
this
one.
is by Imperial Treasures, one of the signature, because we come here all the time. We find that the Chinese cuisine here is really fine. And then, but surprisingly, you know, a lot of the foreign guests, when they come over here, they would order this. And actually you can whiff a sense of this fragrant chili crab just along the corridors. And the question to the chef and the people here, sometimes I'm thinking is like, wow, why people will come all the way here to eat chili crab? Of course, they got secret formula, cannot say, that one I can understand. But also, that's why you must come here and try it yourself. And that after generations of different masters and chefs, their formulas and how they adapt, I think it really goes to show how fine Imperial Treasures and how seriously they take this dish that it's common but iconic at the same time. So, you know, speaking about the mantou, I'm going to just try, I'm trying the sauce and see how it is.
Let me try it too.
I think my eating sound is kept creating a lot of static on the mic. You see, okay, you can taste the chiliness, but it's not spicy until you need to grab a cup of tea immediately.
Broth.
A broth. It's actually very silky.
Yep.
So some places you do it, it can be more liquid, but sometimes it can be too tight, too dense. But this is silky, and when it goes to you, you don't feel that, you don't get a sudden hit of the chiliness.
Yeah, and then the palate will linger on a little bit. Yeah, and that's the beauty of it.
And I was telling Eugene just now that when they serve, it tends to be a more local dish than when they do all the stuff. When they serve you, it feels like, oh, it's everywhere. But here, because it's fine Chinese cuisine, the plating of the whole chili crab, it's amazing. You see where the gong, where the claws are. Yeah, what I saw was that they will put the entire, the what do you call it, the shell at the bottom, and then they will display this. The whole plating when they serve, it's really something. Okay, I'm just gonna, because I really want to.
This is the gong.
This is the gong. Look at this.
Isn't that delicious looking at it?
Oh, please, yes.
Oh, so I have a bigger one.
Yeah.
Wow. Now eating this, you don't have to be very polite. You just have to use your hand.
Yeah, you see, we are really using our hands. So friends who are in Singapore, we're wearing tuxedo and eating like this.
Well, it's okay because this is the fun part of
There's
eating.
No way,
yeah,
there's no way to better eat this, right? There's no way to like, there's no fork and knife in this affair, or huh?
No.
It's very juicy. You can feel that the whole broth, the whole chili broth has gone inside the meat of the crab.
Yeah, it's just like marinated and it's soaking into the meat.
It's very good.
Very good.
very
And the
good.
crab is really, really tender.
You can feel the freshness of it as well. So I think,
Look at
The
it,
whole-
it's so easy to peel it out.
yeah. So I think the whole fineness of the whole thing is that you have some of the best ingredients. I'm sure that the secret formula has some of the very good spices and all this. And the crab itself is very fresh. And then therefore, putting all of them together, then you can create something like this.
Yep. After having the chili crab, I think this is the bowl that in our traditional way we just have to dip
Yeah,
and
you
then
have to do
with a
this.
lemon to take away all the gravery
Yes.
on your hand. And
Right.
then we kindly now can start with the
Next dish, yeah.
next dish.
Next dish,
Right.
well, next dish for me, I think it's even more amazing. It's
yes.
actually, I mean, it's commonly known as the Beijing Ya or Peking duck or Bucking Ping Pei Up and so on. So this is what we have. We saw the chef just now was doing his magic,
Correct.
okay? And in my opinion, really, I think there are quite a few places in Singapore that serve this Ping Pei Up. But this one, I think it's really the best. Really the best. I spent several years in Beijing. So when guests come from overseas, then we have to go and eat Bucking Ping Pei Ya, Beijing Ping Pei Ya. And when I was eating that, maybe it's a matter of taste that we Singaporeans don't like way too oily, which happens in baking. This one, it's very appropriate. And when it goes in, you can feel the texture.
Well, before tasting it,
Yeah.
looking at the crispiness of the brown skin, which
Yes.
is really nicely toasted, and then may I just use this
Okay,
one
yes.
to
So,
flip the skin, which is really no fat on it.
very little fat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very thin, and the meat is really, really good.
Yes.
You know, the color of the meat, it looks like it just cooked in the right temperatures.
Yes.
Yeah.
So a dish like baking kao ya, it can be very complex and a lot of work is involved.
Of course,
But
of course.
after that, you distill it until it's so fine. I think that's really what the word fine Chinese cuisine, fine, really means. It's not simple, it's sophisticated and they're combining a lot of elements. And one way, actually there are a lot of ways to eat this bucking up, Beijing ya lah, huh? So one way I learned is that we have to, use this, we can use this to
As the base?
as the base.
Yeah.
So Eugene can have one. We use our hands for this. Today is a hands-on dish, huh?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, you can have one. So this as the base, and then after that, some cucumber up to the paste, and some of this. Okay. And depending on which part of the duck you want, you can go for either part, and then you drip a bit of sauce on it. And they say that you can have 1 or 2 pieces, up to you. What I learned is that one way you can do it is you go to the bottom first, and then left and right, so it doesn't drip from the bottom. And
Okay.
then, cheers.
Cheers.
I don't know whether the mic can catch the crunchiness of the whole thing. Like, it's very crunchy.
Well,
The skin is very good also.
the skin is good.
The skin
It's
is very
soft.
good. Yeah.
And also one thing is about it's not very oily. Which
It's
is
not
good.
very oily.
Yeah.
One thing I want to emphasize again is that, okay, it's not very oily, but it's not to the point of dry. So it's very appropriately done. Very artistically done as well. Some of them, outside, they go the very oily tradition, which maybe not to my liking. But some of them, when they try to do it the other way, it gets too dry. Then it just doesn't feel too good in the mouth. But first thing I think what you want to do is that first you go to Eugene's place to have a haircut. Have a nice haircut first, right? Then you do more mornings or afternoons,
Well, morning.
Morning, good lah. You go there for a nice haircut, and then you come here for afternoon lunch,
Yes.
and then you can have the chili crab and the Peking kao ya thing, because you can do it with the momo pea. If not, you can just, this one that Eugene just took just now, and they say that if you just dab it a little bit of sugar also can one side, that will also do.
I think basically everybody would love to have these 2 dishes.
Great. Enjoy.
Great.
Thank
I'm
you.
going to have the skin.
You're gonna eat a lot more of
Yeah.
this, huh? Okay.
Great.
Today, with such great Chinese food, amazing champagne and Master Yun's feng shui art, this is truly representing what this calligraphy is writing about. We have here 4 words, of course. It's called 鸾音贺信. In English, we call it auspicious news from the celestials. What does it mean? Now, this Luan is no simple bird. In fact, its status is even higher than phoenix, which means that the good news is coming from celestials far, far away. And He Xing, He means longevity. The good news will stay for a very, very long time. Pretty much like what we are doing today, having great Chinese food, Laurent-Perrier's champagne, and Master Yun's feng shui art. By the way, Laurent-Perrier's champagne, this in my hand is the La Cuvée. It's available on Imperial Treasures menu. So when you're here enjoying some wonderful Chinese cuisine, please have a bottle to go along with the Peking duck and the chili crab that we enjoyed so much just now. Now, fine, what I understand from today's show, it does not mean simple. It is not minimalistic. In fact, it is about getting the finest ingredients and putting them together, just like Master Yun's art. We already know the red circles, they mean pine, the golden strokes, and the feathers, they mean the feathers of the crane. Now, if you look closer, every single small little action and motif, they have their purpose. For buyers of Master Yun art, one thing they consistently look out for is the number of seals that is on this painting or calligraphy. For instance, on this 鸾音贺信 next to me, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, small little detail, but buyers of Master Yun's art, they know that the more number of seals there are on a piece of artwork, the higher the artist, who is Master Yun, appreciates this piece. But of course, the bigger piece you get and you buy, the more chances of it having more seals. Now that will give you a guideline on when you're about to invest in Master Yun's feng shui painting or feng shui calligraphy, which one to go for. Probably you can start by counting the number of seals there are. And if we look at this, now this is 24K gold, this as well, intentionally and purposefully attached onto the Luan, the mystical and powerful bird, and the He, what we have in our mortal world. If you look closer, the details that each of them brushed and dusted off, you can see the strokes and the remnants of the power that's left behind. And that gives every single piece of calligraphy its own character, something that cannot be duplicated. And if you look even closer, the power in the strokes, how it mixes with the acrylic paint, which will glow in the dark. Now that's some fine ingredients coming together. So being fine, F-I-N-E, is actually an attitude. It's about getting the best ingredients and harmonizing them, making them into a piece of artwork that is layered and sophisticated at the same time. That's what we see in the Chinese cuisine over here at Imperial Treasures. That's what we see in La Cuvée, Laurent-Perrier champagne, and that's absolutely what we see in Master Yun's feng shui art. Cheers to being fine.
The Art Beyond Museums series and Master Yun Longzi's feng shui art are proud to be sponsored by Laurent-Perrier. For 200 over years, Laurent-Perrier has not worked with any other artist before. When you purchase a piece of feng shui art exhibited in this Art Beyond Museums series, you will also be getting a complimentary set of 5 different specially selected cuvées of Laurent-Perrier champagne: the La Cuvée, the Cuvée Rosé, Brut Millésimé, Demi-Sec Harmony, and the Cuvée Grand Siècle, so that you can enjoy the taste of elegance while basking in the prosperity of Master Yun's feng shui paintings and calligraphies. Cheers to prosperity and elegance.